Sasha dolls were created by Sasha Morgenthaler, who lived from 1893 to 1975, in Switzerland. Morgenthaler wanted her dolls to have expressions capable of interpretation by their young owners. The dolls were consciously neither happy nor sad, rather having a look that was more wistful, that could capture many moods. The faces were originally hand-painted by the artist herself, with bold abstract strokes, a style that was suggestive, not precise. The artist sometimes used a stick to pull up the wet paint of the eyelid to form eyelashes. Sasha Morgenthaler's vision was to create dolls that represented the spirit of children of all races and cultures, during their age of innocence. A protégé of Paul Klee, she was active in European artistic and social movements. From the 1940s until her death, Sasha worked in her studio to create individual 20-inch tall dolls, of cloth, gypsum, and plastic. These dolls are museum-quality works of art. But these original dolls were too expensive for most families. Morgenthaler's dream was to make a less costly doll with universal appeal. In the mid-1960s she developed the 16-inch tall play dolls, manufactured in Germany and England, that became so popular around the world. These dolls have beautifully stylized bodies in quarter scale, are asymmetrical, and have realistic proportions. They are perfectly balanced, and can assume many poses without a doll stand. They can even stand on their heads. Their skin colorings were chosen to represent all the children of the world, and they have individually hand-painted faces with receptive expressions, to reflect whatever mood its child will give it. The dolls were named simply Sasha, or Cora, for the girls, and Gregor, or Caleb, for the boys. Morgenthaler wanted the dolls' owners to use their own imaginations to develop personalities for individual dolls, and create any stories about them. A series of boxed sets of clothing was made, to cover a wide range of activities and play that children might enjoy. All of the clothing was beautifully made, with an emphasis on being easy for small hands to use, so that the dolls could be redressed without an adult's help. There were even some simple pre-printed dressmaking kits, so that kids could have the fun of making their very own Sasha clothes. Easy to follow hair care instructions, using bold modern illustrations, and involving the use of an old sock, were included with each doll. Later in the production, baby dolls were added to the line. These were made with the same philosophy as the bigger dolls, and had neutral expressions that a child could interpret as they wished. A range of clothing was introduced for the baby dolls for additional play value. Morgenthaler was fiercely protective of her dolls and their image. She quickly saw off any imitators. The manufacturer Uranium of Switzerland tried to cash in on the popularity of Sasha, with miniature versions called Moni. They are 8-inch tall vinyl dolls, of much poorer quality than the Sasha originals, and with generic body sculpts, rather than the elegant asymmetric bodies of the larger dolls. The faces were clearly intended to mimic Sasha dolls, although these mini Sashas have factory screen paint, whereas the dolls they copy were hand-painted. The dolls were made in Hong Kong, despite the suggestion that they were Swiss-made in the manufacturer's title. Moni was made in boy and girl forms, just denoted by hair length, in platinum, blonde, and brunette, and they had a complete range of outfits available as boxed sets. The theme of childhood and Diana Lemieux's work seemed like the ideal pairing. When Sasha dolls first appeared commercially in the 1960s, they were dressed in the height of modern fashion. This continued right up to their end of production. It's a perfect fit for Matilda Pink, Diana Lemieux's clothing label. Diana loves creating doll fashions based on vintage styles from the late 60s to early 70s. Just the right period for classic Sasha. The fashion doll agency dolls are high fashion, yet enigmatic. Their neutral expressions, and impressionistic face-ups, share much in common with classic Sasha. It's as if these vintage child dolls have suddenly grown up, and entered the world of haute couture. Both lines of dolls share an elusive spirit. There's a similar degree of sophistication in the way their features are simply realized, with confident strokes, and a carefully chosen palette of colors. The finely sculpted fashion doll agency faces suggest how the chubby cheeks of Sasha dolls might have matured. They are paired up here, so you can judge for yourself.